Welcome to This Week in Ames. I'm Susan Guiazda. On today's show, we'll check in with the Public Works Department. My guest today is Justin Clausen, construction supervisor with the Public Works Department. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's always good to have you back because there's always something going on in your world. Tell us a little bit about what you do as construction supervisor.
As you mentioned, I work for the Public Works Department. My role is to administer and manage all the capital improvements projects for the Public Works Department here in the city. So anytime a street is getting reconstructed or a new water main or sanitary sewer, we bid out for contracts and contractors get those bids, and then I administer them, and my staff inspects the work, and we make sure it's constructed to city specs and standards, and then we close the project out. So we kind of see it from the beginning in the early design phases, and we really take it over during the construction phase.
So you're watching those projects again from beginning to end. Your background is in engineering?
Yes, that's right. I'm a construction engineer. I went to Iowa State University and worked for a private contractor for about 8 or 9 years before coming here to the city, and this is my third year here at the City of Ames. So.
And not only are you in the office, but we see you out on the site. You kind of have an indoor-outdoor role.
I do. I have a desk, but it doesn't usually see me. This time of year in the summer, I am out probably 90% of the time on projects, helping troubleshoot, helping make sure things are going right. And then in the winter, it's a lot of, for lack of a better term, cleanup of stuff I didn't get done in the summer. And there's a lot of federal paperwork and things like that we need to do that I get to take care of during that time frame as well. So it's a year-round project, even though construction season may only be 8 or 9 months long.
So you spend a lot of your time sort of facilitating these projects from start to finish. Do you ever get involved in the hands-on work?
Not really. Sometimes, I guess, if a contractor is really short-handed or we need something to do, I'm glad to pitch in. But normally we leave that to the contractors. We're paying them to do that, so we don't have the opportunity to do that very much anymore.
While you're there on site, you're sort of looking at the quality, making sure that it's built to spec, looking for any potential problems.
Yeah, that's maybe half the job. The other half of the job is really the customer service side that we do here at the City of Ames. We spend a lot of time notifying residents and businesses and working through their individual challenges or issues, whether it be an access, getting to a front door of a business, or you've got a citizen maybe mobility challenged a little bit in a wheelchair or something, making sure we can get them access as best as possible during the construction. So it's kind of half technical and half customer service.
Now there are plenty of streets and arterials and roads in Ames. They are actually different kinds of purposes. You actually have arterials you actually designate streets at different levels. But whenever you decide to reconstruct a street, different considerations come into play, and you mentioned notification. When you select a street for reconstruction, how does that process work?
There's a 5-year capital improvements program that the city keeps in the Public Works Department for street index. Every year we get a pavement condition index, so we assign a value or a number to a street, saying from 0 to 100 what shape it's in. The higher the number, the better the shape the street's in. And from there we use that data to help guide where we need streets reconstructed. So part of that is the data side, part of that is actual physically going out and driving the streets, and also gathering input from citizens. You know, we encourage that input. If they see something out there that's bad, and you know, the more input we can get, the more we can provide those services to them. So we look at it from that standpoint, and once we narrow that down, the capital improvement program goes to city council every year. And like I say, it's a 5-year program, so streets really get programmed out about 4 to 5 years, and then they keep moving ahead in the program. And once we do that, we go out and we'll have public information meetings probably a year in advance to get some of that local knowledge that citizens may have. They may see a local ponding issue that is not apparent unless you're on the street, and then work through some of those access issues in advance if we can.
Well, what's been really interesting to me recently in the last few years is some of the more innovative kinds of improvements that you are including in your projects. One of them was pervious concrete in some of the alleys in the downtown area. Now, how does that get factored into the reconstruction?
We look at the pervious, especially. It has to do with drainage issues. Some of the alleys have what's called an inverted crown, where basically the water drains away from the buildings into the center of the street. And what happens there is in the winter, that will freeze, and you've got basically an ice skating rink out there. So we place the pervious concrete there to take that the liquids from the melting and actually take them away. That's actually proved to be thus far very very promising. We haven't used pervious on I'll say a heavily trafficked street yet. There's still some research being done about the durability of it and the ability to keep it clean, snow plows, and it can get filled with sand and debris and stuff like that you need to flush out. So there is a maintenance issue with it. But we look for anything we can do, with newer technologies or newer construction techniques to try to stay on the cutting edge of things.
Well, and also just the aesthetics. If you look at a street like Main Street that was reconstructed, some of the landscaping that went into that, some streets are more sort of entryways and perhaps get a little more attention.
Yeah, you especially mentioned downtown. That's a large emphasis has been placed on that, not only by the Main Street Cultural District, but council as well. So when we look at areas like that are a real gathering point and a real place that we want to attract them to, there is an aesthetic side to the design, whether it be with colored concrete or pavers or some other method that we use in like the downtown area, and also some of the arterials. I mean, there was the grant we got for the southeast entryway lighting and things like that. If there's opportunities to do it in our arterials, on our entryways to the city, we certainly look at trying to do that.
So go back to the projects. You're probably in wrap-up stage at this point with some of the summer projects? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Some of them are. I'm wrapping up the ones that people may have seen. Lincoln Way reconstruction in West Ames from Thackeray to Hickory. That one is actually, I'd say, 99% complete.
I bet people are happy to see that one
I'll bet they are. That's always a main topic of conversation once we close down Lincoln Way and do some work on it. But that went really well. We resurfaced Lincoln Way out there. There's some minor touch-up things, but for the most part, it's open to 4 lanes of traffic now. Some of the other work that's going along around town, Sheldon Avenue is in the final stages of reconstruction on the west side of the campus. That's a brand new concrete street that was replaced there. 5th Street in downtown Ames is in the middle of reconstruction. We have one block of it complete. The block between Kellogg and Douglas is complete. The block between Douglas and Duff recently had the main lines paved, and the parking areas will be going down here yet this week if it decides to stop raining. And so that one I expect another 2 to 3 weeks before that's completely done. And then finally the western leg of this project, which would be 5th Street between Kellogg and Burnett, is in the middle of utility construction right now, so there'll probably be another 4 weeks worth of work there before we get it finally paved back. So we'll get it all in before the winter, and that'll button up there. And some of the other big ones people may have seen, we recently finished along Wheeler Street in North Ames, near the North Grand Mall and Dolls in that area. That project recently wrapped up, so that street's reopened to traffic now too. So a lot of our residential work is wrapping up as well. Some of the other bigger projects around town might be the North Growth utility installation. People may have seen that along Ada Hayden. They're probably 30% done with that project. The deep utilities are now starting along Grant Avenue, up in the north part of Ames. So that's some of the major things going on right now in town.
Yeah, and those projects are visible, and sometimes people drive by them. Say you drive by a project and you want a little bit more information. Is there a place you send people where they can learn about all the projects?
Yes, I maintain a web page on the city's website, www.cityofames.org. You can click on the Living tab, and then right there under the Living tab is a construction update page. So about once a week, I get to update that project or that page, and it's got all of the current projects going along in town. In the winter, we will sometimes post some future projects information about that. But it'll give not only phone numbers for individual project inspectors, but it'll give a brief update of what's going on. So if people see it and they will have any questions, they can do that. Otherwise, they can also contact the Public Works office 239-5160, and they can either provide you information or direct you to the right place.
Yeah, what a great resource, that construction update page. Again, off our website, cityofames.org. Under Living, look for construction updates, weekly updates on all the projects going on in the city of Ames. That's a really great service that you provide. Tell us a little bit about some future projects. What can we look forward to?
Yeah, next year, starting the next spring, we will have another section of Lincoln Way under construction. We're going through the corridor, basically resurfacing it. This section will be from Squaw Creek and will extend east to Oak Avenue. So that'll be similar to what you've seen the past 2 years happen in Ames, where the contractor will construct, say, both the eastbound lanes first. So all the traffic will be pushed into the westbound lanes. So we'll maintain traffic through the corridor. We'll maintain access to individual residences as long as we can. Usually we have to close down access on days that we pave, and that can cause some issues with traffic, cross traffic along Lincoln Way, but normally it's only about a day in length, and we try to provide a lot of notification with our message boards and using social media and radio and press releases and things like that. So that's one of the major ones coming up next year. Some other places that you'll probably see us next year is we have some projects in design along Hayward Avenue. So it'd be just south of Iowa State University. That's got a reconstruction project going to take the street out and do a lot of utility rework and new street. There's a box culvert that runs underneath there that needs to be rebuilt. So that's another area where you'll see us next year. There's also Southeast 5th Street, which is the street off of Duff Avenue that is just north of Walmart and south of the Target there. That needs to be rebuilt, and we're working with some consultants to do some design work there. So I expect that to be next summer as well.
Will that street be expanded at all, or just?
This time, no. It'll probably remain the same width and alignment. I know there are future plans to expand and connect Cherry Avenue in, but that's not in our 5-year CIP yet. So it'll depend on some development and things like that there. But the 5th Street will stay, the Southeast 5th will stay where it is, but we'll maintain traffic to that. There's obviously a lot of businesses down there that we need to work through and maintain traffic that way. Probably one other major project you'd see is an extension of Grant Avenue actually getting paved. So once the utility work this fall gets done up there, there'll be a large paving project to start kind of the expansion to the newly annexed areas on the north side of Ames.
Now Grant Avenue connects with Bloomington Road, is that correct?
Yes. Well, it actually connects. It turns into Hyde.
Okay.
And then Hyde goes down to Bloomington, so it'll be direct access.
So it's confusing for people who hear Grant with the T and think Grand,
Yes.
because they actually are almost parallel.
They are. They both run north-south there through the corridor, and this will be another area for people coming from the Gilbert area, coming off of 190th to get into North Ames that way.
Yeah, so a very well-known street to probably people up north, but maybe not well-known to people who don't go that way very often.
Absolutely.
If people who visit Ada Hayden might be familiar with the work up there. And, we heard great feedback about that two-way communication going back and forth. I know that your department has made a particularly strong effort in the last few construction seasons to get the word out early to people and let them know what's going on. Yeah,
we really we take a lot of pride in that, and we spend a lot of time communicating with residents and businesses. It's a lot easier to build the projects if you can get buy-in from the neighborhood, and we do. And if anybody has a concern or has a special need that we can accommodate, we will do everything we can to do that. We're not there to make an inconvenience. We're only there to make it better. We understand construction can be inconveniencing sometimes, but if we can help out, we certainly like to do that.
Well, I always say it's always worth the wait. Yeah. Justin, I know you're busy. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Well, again, if you'd like information on construction updates in Ames, don't forget to go to that website. That's cityofames.org. Look for the Living tab, and construction updates is under that pull-down menu. Other information to think about, remember the Ames Public Library is on its way back home. That location, 515 Douglas, will open up on Sunday, September 14th. You don't want to miss it. There's always more information on the Ames Public Library website. That's amespubliclibrary.org. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for This Week in Ames.